guys, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to The Wandering Reader. Today I'm going to be talking about my top 5 books of summer for 2019. So I'm feeling really autumnal today. You know, I'm loving this lipstick that I'm wearing, and I'm wearing, you know, this lovely shirt, and I'm feeling fall. Although it is still quite warm outside, it's sort of like 18 or 19 degrees today, so yeah, I'm sort of channeling autumn. I thought I said that wrong then, but it's not quite turned to autumn outside. But we are in September, so it's that time of year where we're reflecting back on summer and looking forward to the new season. And I have 5 books that I want to talk to you about today that were my favourite books that I read this summer. So let's jump in. The first book that I want to talk about today is The Untold Lives of Jack the Ripper by Hallie, or the Untold Lives of the Women Who Jack the Ripper Killed by Hallie Rubenfold. This is a book that I've talked about quite a lot on my channel already, and I know some of you have gone away and read it for yourself now, so that is just fantastic. That's just such a joy. You know, one of the joys of having a YouTube channel like this is that you can recommend such great things to people and they go away and enjoy them like you know, you knew that they would. So this is basically a non-fiction book where Hallie Rubenfold basically tells the story of the 5 women who Jack the Ripper killed. And it doesn't really mention their murders at all. It's all about their lives. So when they were born, where they grew up, how they came to be in Whitechapel at the time that Jack the Ripper was on his killing spree, as it were. And the reason I love this so much, well, there are a number of reasons, but one of them was that it gave me such a great insight into Victorian working class life in Britain. I really felt like I knew so much more about that particular era and about women's lives in that era, and it was just so interesting to read about. I thought it was really well written. I listened to this one on audio, but I do want to pick myself up a physical copy of it. But yeah, it was very well written, really clear, really insightful, really easy to read, and it's definitely one that I will be returning to kind of delve into different things that I learnt in there, and I would highly recommend it. The second book that I want to recommend is The Ones Who Got Away by Ronnie Lauren. This is the first book in the Ones Who Got Away series. This is a contemporary romance novel, and the reason why I liked this so much, I'm reading an awful lot of romance at the moment, but this one particularly caught my attention because it's set against the backdrop of a school shooting, and it's, I think, something like 12 years later, and the characters are coming back to the school because there is a documentary that's being made about, you know, what happened and where these people are now in their lives and things like that. So our main characters are back in town for that reason, and they had a bit of a relationship when they were in high school. The school shooting happened on the night of their sort of like prom or graduation party, and yeah, they meet back up again, and it sparks this relationship between the two of them. And the romance was really sweet, and it was just the right kind of level of pace that you needed, because of course they'd been in some sort of a relationship previously, so it wasn't like they were starting things from brand new again, and it was all happening very quickly. The sex scenes in this were really well written and really sexy, so if you're into that sort of thing, then I would definitely recommend it for that reason. But I also felt that Ronnie Lauren really got to the heart of the emotion behind the characters at this particular point in their lives, and you wouldn't think that you know, the premise of a school shooting would be a good sort of thing to write about for a romance novel, but I thought it really worked, and I'm looking forward to reading more in the series. I've got the second one on my Kindle to follow it up. The next book that I want to recommend is Tilly and the Book Wanderers, and this is by Anna James. This is book number 1 in the Pages & Co series. This is a middle grade or children's novel, and it basically tells the story of Tilly, and she lives with her grandparents in a bookshop called Pages & Co, and she's obsessed with reading, as you would imagine. And one day she sees a character from one of the books that she has enjoyed reading in the past. I think it's Alice who appears to her first, from Alice in Wonderland. And she's sort of thinking, why are you appearing to me? And, you know, then somebody else appears to her, and Nobody else can see these characters, and then she gets pulled into, I think it's Anne of Green Gables, into the story, into the world of the book. And it turns out that she is a book wanderer, and book wanderers are people who can wander in books, basically. And she goes on this adventure, and you know, there's a mystery in here as well to be solved. I'm not going to kind of go too much into that because it'd be spoilers, but this was utterly delightful. I really enjoyed the whole thing about reading. I mean, that's basically why you're going to fall in love with this book, because it is about reading. It's about the pleasure of bookshops. It's about the characters and the settings and the stories that we've fallen in love with as children and continue to love as adults. And there was just so much magic and whimsy in this book. It was utterly delightful, and it's really lovely to read as well because it's got illustrations in it. And some of the layout is a little bit different. So for example, these are black pages, and then what else have you got in here? There are some little illustrations. I'm trying to find one now. So you've got like some playing cards from Alice in Wonderland, things like that. Yeah, utterly delightful. The second book I think is coming out in October. I think that's correct, October or November, one of the two, and I'm thinking of pre-ordering it because yeah, it was just lovely and you will love this. Book number 4 that I want to recommend is called Getting Schooled by Emma Chase. This is the first book in the Getting Some series. I believe the second book has just come out, and this is a contemporary romance novel that centres around a high school. I was a bit wary of that going into it, but it's not got anything that's problematic or anything like that, in my opinion anyway. So our two main characters are teachers at this particular school, and they knew each other from sort of like childhood and high school as well. They had a relationship in high school. And our female main character, I can't remember their names off the top of my head, she's been away from town for quite a while. You know, she went to university somewhere else, and she has got a job in a theatre, but she has to come home because her parents have a car accident and I think they break their legs or something like that. So she has to come home to take care of them for a little while. So she gets a job in the local high school as the sort of like fill-in drama teacher because the other one's on maternity leave. And then she meets back up with our hero, who is a PE teacher, and he's the coach of the football team. And the two of them rekindle this relationship. And I really enjoyed Emma Chase's writing in this book. Have I read anything by her before? Was she the one that wrote the Royley series? I think she might have been actually, and I really enjoyed her writing in that as well. Such good chemistry between the characters, but also, you know, the setting of the high school. You had like the kind of idea of our heroine has never been a teacher before. She's thrown in at a deep end. She's kind of trying to get her head around how to kind of interact with these kids and how to teach a lesson, and you know, how's she going to get these students to respect her and that sort of thing. And I really appreciated that as a teacher myself. And also there were some sort of issues surrounding some of the students in the school that I found really interesting as well. So yeah, not just, you know, and a lot, this goes for romance in general. It's not just about the relationship between the two main characters, it's also about all of the other stuff that's going on in the background, and that's why romance novels are so great, or one of the reasons that they're so great anyway. So yeah, would definitely recommend this. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to picking up the second one. And the last book that I want to recommend in this video is called The Wisdom of Sundays, Life-Changing Insights from Super Soul Conversations by Oprah Winfrey. This was another book that I listened to on audio, and it is basically excerpts from conversations that Oprah Winfrey had with lots of different people on a programme that she did called Super Soul Sundays, and they were conversations all about the soul and about spirituality and things like that. And I just felt like I learned so much from listening to this audiobook. There was so much in there about doing things with intention, and thinking carefully through your decisions, and things to do with your soul and your heart and the way your brain works and things like that. And it was just really, really interesting to listen to. Definitely a book that I want to return to, because I feel like every time you read it, you would be reminded of things that you read about in the first book that kind of had filtered back into the back of your brain, but also things that you didn't quite take on board the first time around. Yeah, I just think it's a book that you could get so much out of every time that you read it. I love Oprah Winfrey anyway, and it was really lovely listening to her. We obviously hear from her quite a lot in the audiobook, both in the conversations and in the sort of little introductions that she does at the beginning of each chapter, as it were. Yeah, fascinating to listen to. The only thing I would say is that it talks quite a lot about religion and God in here. It's not overwhelming and in your face though, and I would definitely say that some of the things that they were saying about spirituality from that sort of angle, you could apply those things to your life without being a religious person. So yeah, definitely one that, yeah, I'm going to return to again and again. Absolutely loved it. So there you go guys, they were the top 5 books that I read this summer. I'd love to have a chat with you in the comments below. Have you read any of these books? What did you think of them? Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.